Good evening to everybody at Case Western. Today, we looked at service animals and disability accommodation, starting with Westlaw and moving over into practical law. You'll notice that just running a search for disability accommodation and then searching in Ohio and all fed is a pretty decent place to start. You're going to see a list of statutes, cases, and things like that. But today we focused on practical law halfway down the page here because practical law has a couple things that might be quite handy. As you can see here, disability accommodation under the ADA, national, federal. Click on that to learn more about what's going on here. Namely, that there are certain laws authored by Congress. You can see them right here. You can link to them on Westlaw. That's USC stands for the United States Code. And clicking on any of these underlying terms actually will define them and link you out to other things. Reasonable accommodation, disability, things that you may be required to prove or argue exist or don't exist. Yeah, Professor Gordon's got a disability, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe the accommodation is reasonable, or maybe it isn't. You can see that these frameworks along the left-hand side here give you an idea of some steps that you can follow to go through this problem and get the answer based on these things that are going on here. Because you can see anything in italics with that blue are things like definitions, things like links to the United States Code, things like links to the major cases, and even the Code of Federal Regulations. That's the CFR right here. Those are administrative rules published by the executive branch to interpret the laws passed by Congress. So you can see here, going through any of these things will actually give you links to the law that actually bears this stuff out. So when you read these sections, you know what you're looking for. You know what the factors are. You know what the big ideas are. Again, just like anything on Westlaw, hit that folder button, add things to folders, because that stuff is going to be super handy as you tackle things going forward. And of course, always at the end of anything on practical law, give a look-see to the end of it, because you can see how this is related to a ton of other potential workplace issues that practicing lawyers would actually need to know about. So that's pretty handy, pretty great. Again, that's from practical law if you just search there. What about disability accommodation service animal? We know that that's what the professor is looking for. So let's give a look-see under secondary sources over here. You're going to see that there are quite a few, and we're actually going to have to maybe do a little bit of thinking about how much detail we really want. Law reviews are great if they discuss your specific issue, but sometimes they're too narrow to be useful. Appendix federal regulations, that sounds like a lot of detail that might not be as useful. What I particularly like are practice guides. Things like a state practice series, or what we're looking at here, result number 3, American jurisprudence trials. So if you click on this and you notice the article's outline includes a section that talks about making of service animals. We're going to define what a service animal is under all these different laws, because maybe you can take your service animal into the workplace, but maybe not onto a plane. Well, there's a different act, the Air Carrier Access Act, see that number 5, that speaks to what is okay in that context. But within the ADA, number 2 here, you can see, again, links to the US Code, links to the CFR that defines what a service animal is, yeah? And then footnotes to, let's see here, to cases or things like that. So you can actually see here, it's showing you the history of how service animal has evolved from like seeing eye dog to now maybe a broader category of folks as well. So keep that in mind as well. You can get to this source just by typing its name here, AmJur Trials, American Jurisprudence Trials, it shows up blue, you click on it, and then as you can see here, this gives you the full lowdown for a lot of different things that you might be taking on, but it will also give you the black letter law for some of the things that you might need to know for Professor Gordon's case. Back to the home page and a quick recap of some complimentary resources at the bottom of your page, 1-800-REFATTY, any other day or night. Live chat them during business hours or send email, although keep in mind it takes a day and change for that to get back to you. Thanks for watching and best of luck with your research.